to give them to them. Here is one from Ndelani, and if you can write these down, Peter. The RDPs are the house for the desperate. They are very small to accommodate 5 people. They are not strong enough. That's just one of the comments about RDP houses. They're not strong enough. How can they accommodate 5 people? And that's the reality. Here's a cynical one, but unfortunately one that people are thinking. Kangelani Magobane is saying, why do you start building projects whenever there's going to be an election? And then you never continue after you've won the elections. All right, Minister? There's another one for you. A bit of a cynical one, but nonetheless, it is a concern from a lot of people. And let me see another one here quickly before I go back to you. Portia writing in and saying, good morning. My mother registered for an RDP house in 1996. Until this day, she has been taken from pillar to post by every department. Unfortunately, that's the only thing that Portia's given me, but I've seen so many of those coming through. I'm going to go back to you, but I've got hundreds more, so you come back to me when you can.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, we are here in Four Ways, and Minister Tokyo Sexwale is seated down, and we've given him lots of water so that his voice doesn't fail him today. Minister, let's get into these questions straight away. I guess, first of all, is this the toughest job that you've ever had? And you've been successful in many things, but this, I put to you, is probably a real test for you.
I think it's the toughest thing that all South Africans are going to face. I've done so many things. It's nice to be in jail for so many years. That's not tough compared to this. I went to this thing, I've been in business, and we have built through a company that we owned at one stage, a Group 5. We built so many things across the country, the Durban Stadium, the Durban Airport and so on, houses throughout Africa. I did not have an idea until I became a minister what really a house is. I really didn't. When you hear me talking earlier, it's the passion of having understood that it's a tough job, but it's a tough call for people not to have a house. But what makes it more worse in South Africa is that this thing was done racially, of people not having land, a place to stay. And what compounds it further is the fact that people live in different places. Like I said, Johannesburg, Soweto, Mamelodi, Pretoria, and so on. So the toughest job that anybody can have is to reverse apartheid social engineering. I think we can build houses, it's fine. But to do so as uniting South Africans is not easy, but there's a strategy for that. And one of the things, let me just quickly tell you what the strategy is, to de-racialize South Africa. We have to think about this. Firstly, it is to bring people into the affluent areas. There are buildings that we are buying, renovating many throughout the country, inside the cities. High-story buildings. We're changing from office space into homes, and that's where we get our people. Secondly, there are lands inside these cities, throughout, belonging to various government entities, SOEs, or state-owned enterprises. We get those lands and build houses inside there. Thirdly, it is the land within the proximity of the city, where the city environs are. Johannesburg has got to grow. Immediately around there, we find that land together with private sector and then get people in. But most importantly, this is the last one, is the land of the divide, the land between Johannesburg and Soweto. That's where you've got to close the gap. And lastly, obviously, to develop Soweto themselves, these types of areas.
Are we talking about also mixing low-income and high-income housing?
Yes. We're talking about that because you cannot stratify society and let some people, because they're affluent, stay at that side and so on. I live in Sandhurst, but where do some of our people stay? People work for me. I've got 6 people working in my house. They live far away. So you want to build places, very good-looking places, high quality. So this RDP thing is not about, and well, let's address this question, how strong are these houses? Quality. And I want to show you a few things. I wish you had footage to see what we are doing, because we have turned the corner. We have got to get those people houses nearby so that there's no transportation cost for them to come to work. Because the biggest thing that destroys what you call the gross domestic income of the people, disposable income of people. after you've cut all sorts of things, you are left with that income. It's transport. And that's what apartheid has done. I'm not here to blame apartheid. I'm here to deal with it. Apartheid, what it does is to leave people with their disposable income chewed by transport. So you've got to get these people closer, who work for us, who work in the cities. But not only because they work, they want to live there. But the houses must be of high quality, must be good. Mine is a large house because it's in Sandhurst. But it should not be different from the houses that I open and cut ribbons all the time as the so-called minister. It should be different. The materials, the designs and so on, there must be a say. So we stress quality, quality, quality. When did we start turning around quality? We should admit, and this affects all political parties from 1994, all of them, because the ANC had 7 provinces, IP, KZN, and the National Party at Western Cape. We started on the wrong foot. These RDP houses that people are saying are falling, not a good job was done, because we are rushing, throwing cement all over the place. We must admit that. That's what I find. But the turnaround came at the time when the minister was Lindy Wesisulu. She introduced something called, it's breaking new ground. Let's break new ground and find quality. But it was still a pilot project. Now, my job is to break that ground, and let me tell you, we have broken that ground to provide people with quality. So the lady who asked about these houses are strong, she is right, referring to some of the houses which were built the wrong way.
So you've got a lot of houses to fix as you build new ones.
Something which I don't like, because we should be going forward, getting involved into building new houses. But we are forced to go back and rectify. And the rectification bill, I'm sorry to say, is very, very high. But we've got to do that job. We can't let our people down. And so it is, we don't want this trial and error. We've broken new ground. We turned the corner. We're putting quality first. We're having high standards and norms. And that's what we're producing now. That's why they become assets which can put people.
Is this why some
players.
houses are being demolished?
Absolutely. We have to demolish some of the houses. And we've got to repair some of them as standalones and so on. But the most important thing is to have a proper strategy in place. Like I said, the new strategy to get people now to build their own houses and so on. But that cannot happen if the economy is performing in the manner that it does, and it's very, very lackluster. It's worrying to have 40% unemployment with 25% being official. The other 15% are people who have just given up looking for jobs.
You're running out of time though, aren't you? I mean, the number of people that need housing are coming into the system at a faster rate than you can build them. This is why we've got this woman, 1996, she says she applied for a house. And 16, 17 years later, she's still waiting. And this must be representative of a lot of people's plight.
Some people are falling within that bracket, and there are 2 reasons, mainly. One, somebody is corrupting the system somewhere. You can't be waiting for that long. And we've got to get the name of that woman, the place. And let me be very, very clear. People must tell us the truth. When I sit in television stations, radio, people call and make this type of allegations. I hope it's not an allegation. We want the exact details so that we can find out in which township she is, which municipality, which province, then I can act to find out who was responsible and so on. We find that there's cheating on the housing lists. People do strange things, and that's a form of corruption. You may find that there are officials playing favoritism, nepotism, and so on. So we've got to get to the bottom of that. But we address those things. We've got a department, and when we catch the culprits, we deal with them. I'm sorry about this woman, but she must know we are determined as government to assist.
All right, let's get it on record. On average, how long should it take from the moment that you apply for an RDP house to actually receiving one?
It takes quite some time. It depends where you are on the lists.
On average?
On average, it depends also from city to city, administration to administration, from province to province. But on average, it shouldn't take long for people to be on the list. Within 3, 4 years, yeah.
So within 4, let's take the worst situation. What is the longest in the worst area?
You're asking me a very tough question.
Yes, that's why we're here.
Because now, to answer your question, I should know which area we would be talking about, because they'll be different.
It's 5 years too long.
But on average, when people apply, remember you are having a backlog
right.
of 2. That's why your question is difficult, but you'll realize why. The backlog is 2.1 million housing units. It affects 8 million people. So on average, if Peter Ndoro applies for a house today, assuming you require a house and you're not cheating the system, you are at the back of 8 million people. So how long is it going to take?
And how many?
How long is a piece of string? So we try our best with the budgets. The budgets are not unlimited. You don't have all the money to build and so on. So it can take anything within that 8 million people. But we have, one lady has asked here, why do you build houses during elections? She's wrong. I've got right now 8,000 projects on the ground to assist people to have houses. So from those 8,000 people, it depends where you are on the list. I cannot give you an accurate answer here.
All right.
But what I can do hereafter is to give you exact answers that you can give to your viewers in different places, how long it is to wait for the house.
Do we have any idea how many houses we're managing to build a year?
Yes.
How many is that?
Our target should be, within 1 year, at 200,000 houses.
All right. So
That's right.
200,000, 8 million people. You've got a long way to go.
You're long to go.
Okay. All right. I think we're clear
Let's
on
put
that.
it like this. If I took all the money of the budget from Praveen and it goes nowhere else, we can solve the problem. But governance is about the budget, and I can do only to the extent that I've got the budget. So every year, that's why the target is Human Settlements Vision 2030. We believe that the 2.1 million units affecting about 10 million people will be sorted out by 2030. So that's how long it's going to take. And Peter, remember, government is not your problem. You are assisting people.
Right.
There's a problem that we're dealing with in South Africa, and unemployment is making it worse. So it's a tough call.
All right, we're going to take a quick break just now, but before that, sanitation has come into the highlights in the last week in particular, and members from your party are throwing feces at people. And I'm just wondering, A, that's not acceptable, I'm sure, but it is a sign of desperation. You set up a commission, I think, headed by Madikizela Mandela.
Yes.
What has happened with that commission? Has it reported back? And what are you doing? Because I think the other day you said there's 2 million people plus that don't have adequate sanitation.
Earlier, I referred to informal settlements, where people are desperately escaping poverty. And when they get there, we don't build those things. First thing they will want is water, sanitation. And then they start looking for electricity, health, and they're looking for jobs. So that's what we are seeing in the more than 2,000 informal settlements. And there are people in the hinterland of the country who are left also without this basic thing. It's a target that we have, and I find this target having been defined by government. So in respect of sanitation, there's a job to be done by municipalities, by provinces, and by national government to provide people with basic sanitation. But I must say that there's been a lot of stonewalling, where we send money. My job is to receive money and give it to provinces as well as to municipalities in a program called accreditation. Stonewalling by people who even fail to spend that money, Then you had a situation at Mokaka in Free State, and another one where it started in the Western Cape, So areas controlled by 2 political parties in those localities. Money is given and people leave toilets open. So what do? Take action. We take action against those people, against those municipalities and so on. So people will also take their own action with the steps that they take and do all the kind of things that you have said. We cannot countenance, therefore, with a situation where there is money. And I pass on the money. Municipalities and provinces do not spend. So you've got to monitor and make sure that things are done right. Let me tell you another thing. We've got 2 agencies of government that are also supposed to be building. And there's been this slow process. The danger here is that sometimes we deploy people who don't have proper skills. And they, in turn, employ people who've got no expertise. So you've got to deal with all those things. So very complex issues. But the work must be done, and my job is to go out there, monitor, and fight and do whatever I can for the poor.
Is it not of such national importance that you should take over human settlements, even at the most basic level in local government. So not leave it to the provincial government or local municipalities, that you take over and manage it straight away.
I wish I could do that. It's easier said than done because I'm dealing now with the fundamental basic law of your country, my country. It's the Constitution. And powers are given to provinces that I cannot touch. I cannot command. And powers are given to localities that I cannot touch. It's not like running a company. Within a company, if I'm an executive chairman and I say, we are producing Coca-Cola, no one is going to tell me, I give instructions right down and we hire, we fire. However, you know, in provinces, I don't give you that job. Yeah. You are put by your premier, I've got to negotiate with you. And so in the city, everybody has got power. So that's how government works, not just in South Africa, throughout the world. You've got to monitor, cajole, and because you say to someone, I want this job done, he says, but I've got rights, so. I say, I want you at the meeting, so I have another meeting. You know, that kind of a thing. But on a serious note, it is the fundamental law of the country. Power belongs to various spheres of government, and we've got to be working with one another without stepping on the toes. At the end of the day, sometimes you do, because the poor cannot be held as prisoners to this type of a situation.
All right.